Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Brandon.
And today we're going to tell you how we felt about the movie Her. This film's been out for a few weeks now, and I meant to do this, I meant to see this, you know, when it came out, and just didn't get around to it. So finally, Brandon and I just saw Her, and chances are by now you already know what the film is about, but I'll briefly summarize. Her stars Joaquin Phoenix playing a character named Theodore who lives in a not-too-distant future. The film is really ambiguous about what time frame, I mean, like when exactly this is set. I always really like that.
Yes, ambiguity.
Yeah, and so here, you know, you feel like you're in the world we live in, basically with a few things that maybe have technologies that have maybe progressed a bit farther than they have right at this very moment. And of course, he is this kind of pseudo antisocial guy who is very internalized, and he's lost his wife, really mostly over communication issues. And this film is all about communication. And he starts seeing his computer. Basically, because there's this new operating system that's the first artificially intelligent operating system. Amazing that they got it right the first time, Brandon. Yes. The thing yes, works indeed. Absolutely perfectly on the first go. OS 1. That's amazing. You know, even the emergency medical hologram had multiple.
That's a great point. I hadn't thought about that.
And anyway, so the film really explores their relationship. And this technology at the same time, and kind of sees whether or not these two people can be compatible. That's Brandon, right. What did you think about Her?
How I felt about Her?
Yeah.
I felt as though relationships with any type of AI are inevitable in our lifetime and will be socially acceptable, but also flawed. Something I mean by that speaks to the nature of this movie.
Yeah.
I see this as the not-so-distant future, and in fact, closer to tomorrow than it is, say, 100 years from now.
So you think this got it right? You think this is predicting the future? The
extrapolation that they made, yes. I am hook, line, and sinker right there.
All right.
Now, as regards to the perfection of the AI... maybe that's a few years out, yes, of course, but we see this now. People are having relationships with things on their computers, such as like avatars that they've created, or there's a thing called Second Life where you create an avatar and you have relationships with other avatars who are controlled by other people. Things like this,
and that's people getting caught up in virtual reality.
Yes, they're getting caught up in these virtual realities. Which is not
exactly what this is.
It's not the same thing, but I think that that's where it's headed.
Sure.
I mean, we've seen things, they've tried to make AIs that are intuitive and things like this, and they failed here and there, and they're trying to come up with other things, but this is not such a foreign concept inside science fiction either.
No, it's not. And you know what? I tell you what. I'll meet you at this place. This movie is dealing with different things than getting sucked up into a virtual reality. It's really important to state that right up front.
Absolutely.
Because very quickly, we the audience believe in this woman Samantha as an actual.
As an entity.
Real, and as a sentient being with her own feelings.
Yes.
And so the fact that he could get caught up in her doesn't make him pathetic. Any of us possibly could see her as a person. If you thought that made him pathetic, you'd have to think that the entire crew of the Starship Enterprise in the 24th century is pathetic for thinking Data is a person.
Well, this is the thing. This is the thing.
Sorry, real quick. What I was going to say though is that with the virtual reality thing, where I'll meet you there is that the fact that is going on, where people get so caught up in the virtual world they lose themselves in it.
Yes.
Makes it likely that if this happened, it would potentially become socially acceptable very quickly.
That is true.
I was surprised at first in the film. I was surprised how fast it became socially acceptable. I mean, we're talking the first operating system. They didn't even improve on it before people were okay with it. That I had a problem with that at first, and now that you say that, I think they might have been right about it.
I think that they're coming into this realization that this is an extrapolation of where we are currently. and it will not be everybody, but it will be prevalent in a percentage of the population based on how these things go.
If this technology were
right.
possible,
If this technology became as it was presented in the movie, I think this is highly possible that this is exactly where we would be. There'd be a percentage of the possibility of the population and maybe not even like the character in the movie, but who are uncomfortable with physical, real relationships.
Yeah.
And they'd be all over this. They'd be like, well, my girlfriend's in AI. Sure, why not? Something that I really liked about this movie was the direction of the extrapolation of the future. I thought they hit it spot on. For if this AI type of thing gets ground and really does work the way it's always been projected to work in sci-fi, this is exactly where it would be. One thing that I didn't like, and the movie was supposed to do this, it was supposed to make me very uncomfortable.
And
I didn't like how uncomfortable it made me, because I saw myself as... you start to see this computer as an actual person. Like you said, even though they're not really there, they're in the computer, they're in the internet, that type of thing. The cloud computing, if you will, is what I got the impression. But I could see myself even toying with the notion, should this be available? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's something anybody might try experimenting with at least once to see if that's for them.
Yeah,
that type of thing,
and that scares you a bit.
It does scare me, because I'm all about the physical and the emotional, but with connecting with a real person. Where do we then draw the line? What's real and what's not?
Exactly.
If we're saying these individuals like Data in Star Trek, or like I can't think of his name now in the movie iRobot.
Sure, yeah.
These types of, for all intents and purposes, we've usually seen this type of very relatable AI. We've usually seen them in robot form.
Yeah.
The AIs we see in computer form are usually a little less personable, a little more machine-like.
Yeah, and even when they're not, at least they still have a physical body.
Yes, that's true. So this was kind of... I felt that this was kind of the new concept, was that you're dating the OS in essence, rather than you're dating the robot who has an OS.
Right.
That was the difference for me. So, in the end, I'm definitely feeling it. I think this is at least you need to see this at least one time, not necessarily in the theater for me, but I am feeling it. You do need to see this movie. I feel it is what we're moving towards. I highly recommend it.
Okay, this one made me feel like I need to write more people letters, Brandon. Like with my actual hand and sending them in the actual mail.
There's an app for that.
Like I said, this is a movie about communication and the lack thereof, and how important being able to communicate with a human being is to making a relationship work.
Yes.
What ultimately our character in this has difficulty with his wife, with his wife that he's divorcing, is communication, and they can't express how they feel about each other. It's with the both of them, how they feel about each other after a lot of time has passed. When they've been together for a long time, they feel like they've drifted apart, and they can't put the words together to make it keep going. This is a dialogue-driven movie in the most extreme sense of that idea. It's not just driven by the dialogue; it's about dialogue.
Yes, indeed it is.
And so one of the things I found most interesting about this movie was when he starts to develop this relationship with the AI. They have the same thing. Their communication starts to break down, and a lot of it is because of how different they are.
Yes.
And because, as a computer, she doesn't have to communicate the way you and I communicate.
That's right.
And they speak different languages. And so...
just fundamentally different.
They speak different... Yeah. And they drift apart, without giving too much away about the movie. If you were dating a computer like this, it seems like inevitably you wouldn't be able to keep it going, keep it working, because because the first thing I thought of when she first boots up is how extremely quickly she processes information. Wouldn't she have to grow beyond him as she's growing beyond her programming? So this is a movie very much about the human condition, and I liked a lot about what it had to say about what makes people people. I always really latch on to that, and this one, I mean, it's a little tragic by the end. It's kind of a sad film, certainly, and you're right. It is a little bit scary. Some of the ideas that it's putting forth about where technology could be going, and things like that. I did think that it was exaggerating a bit with what on purpose. This kind of science fiction should do this. That it wasn't saying so much, I don't think. And I mean, like, I don't have any problem with anything you said. They did make me believe it in this world. I didn't feel like in the next 20 years we will have anything this sophisticated with this technology.
But it's perhaps an exaggeration on what the AI can do.
But I thought that what was incredibly sophisticated was this being a what-if statement. What if this existed? What would happen?
Yeah.
I bought where they went with it. I thought that the society, the way it affected society, made a lot of sense. But also the way it affected this singular person made a lot of sense. And I really like when you get this kind of science fiction where you have a big new technology that affects the world, but getting it from the perspective of a single person and how it affects that guy.
Right.
That's the thing I loved. I did really like so much about this. So I don't know. I think my favorite thing about the movie was the ending.
Yeah, you really like that?
I thought it was great. They do a wonderful traditional sci-fi thing at the end of this with the AIs, and I didn't expect them to go there. And
I didn't know where this movie was going.
And that's one of the things I liked about it. It was unpredictable.
But at the same time, I have to say this: the ending that they did, that's what I was feeling should have ended that way, but I didn't think they were going to do that. But I felt like this was supposed to be what was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And then they did do that, and I was like, well, this is a real growth story.
And again, without giving away what exactly it is in case you haven't seen it, the ending, I think, really speaks to, like I said, what it is that makes human beings, and so like we buy that these artificial intelligences yes, are sentient and are their own people and have their own independent thoughts, but never are they people.
Right.
And never are they human beings, because our physical forms, and like this is a movie about physical intimacy, those sorts of things. Like I said, it does everything within the framework of, I mean, like I said, it is definitely a science fiction film, but it's also within the framework of a kind of mainstream relationship movie.
Right.
And so, these...
Well, you say that. I have to mention this.
Yeah, sure.
With regards to the ending was a little bit different than this other movie I'm going to reference, but I felt like it was 21st century Sleepless in Seattle, almost. With regards to this guy who's experiencing a very difficult time and he's looking for someone to help him through that time.
Except that it's not mushy or sappy.
No, it's not. But it's a more sci-fi version of that.
Yeah, I can see that
in the 21st century.
Yeah, and then going to something I didn't care for. I kind of had what you had. I felt uncomfortable in a lot of places, and again, you're supposed to. But what made me uncomfortable was different than yours.
Yeah.
And so this is a thing. I don't even know if I'm calling this a major criticism, but like with you, it bugged me to think this is where things might be going. And this was a thing I think that they predicted that has everything to do with technology, but isn't about predicting where technology is going so much as how technology is changing us.
Right, and what we'll do with the technology.
No.
No?
What I'm saying... Let me explain what it is I'm talking about. I do think this has something to do with the internet age we live in. The fact that everybody in this movie so offhandedly, casually F-bombs and curses and has lots of lewd comments, and it's just normal. It's just like it's like there is no such thing as kid friendly anymore, and that bugged me. There were a lot of places where the film I kept thinking this is going crasser than it needs to, and then I was thinking, I don't think they're being funny or edgy. I think they're saying that this is becoming more and more just the norm, and like I saw in this a world where there's not really there's like, for instance, if you still had, like, say something akin to cable television,
yes.
You know, F-bombs would no longer would be something now that you could actually put on TV.
Here, I see a slightly different take on exactly what you're saying, but this is something I noticed in the film when I was watching it. Was I don't see it as them saying that that's now like society. When I'm talking in certain context, when I'm talking to people in different conversations, I'll throw around words, you know, that I feel help me get across the meaning.
But in this, everyone does it.
I feel like
the AI very quickly picks up on it and starts doing it.
Yes, and she does, absolutely. But I feel this speaks more towards this is the realm in which they are. I don't think this is necessarily any children or anything like that are doing it. And the game that he plays, I feel like, is an NC-17 game.
See, I didn't. I felt like that was that looked like something that probably anybody was playing.
Okay.
And
I saw it just slightly differently.
I'm glad you brought that up. Well, they keep it ambiguous enough that you can.
They do.
And that's good. But yeah, I didn't get the sense that was an adult game. I got the sense that everyone that like probably little kids were playing that. Anyway, I'm definitely feeling it on this. I've got mixed emotions on how much I enjoyed the film, because it, like I said, it did make me kind of uncomfortable in places and cringe a bit. But I think it's because there was a lot of truth in a lot of what it was doing that was bothering me a lot.
It's an uncomfortable truth.
As a science fiction film, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. As a relationship movie, I didn't love sitting through it, but that's a taste thing.
Yeah.
I think it did everything quite effectively.
Oh, definitely.
Anything else you wanted to jump on?
There was a couple of other things. I will say this. While watching the movie, I became acutely aware of my surroundings. In a way, I was sitting there and I'm watching him, and he's attempting to be kind of aware of the things that are going around him. And suddenly I thought to myself, well, when I'm out at the grocery store, like, I'm aware of things, but I'm not ultra aware of things. Like, I could do better in myself to notice what's going on around me. And then I thought to myself, well, why don't I even notice what I'm absorbed in this film? Why don't I notice what's going around me in the movie theater as well? And so this, it speaks to being more aware of your surroundings and what's going on around you, and to have a better understanding of the nature of these types of things.
I mean, are you saying that's because we're too plugged in, and so
we're
not paying enough attention?
Yes,
to it?
And that's the main point here. We're very plugged in, and he is very plugged in. And I felt like maybe I need to remove myself at some point.
See, what I really liked about this, though, is that I felt like it wasn't. It was that all of society has gotten that way. Because one thing I really liked about this guy is that he's internalized, but it's not like he stays in his house all the time and does nothing but play video games or talk on the phone. Like, he leaves his house, and I was really impressed by that. That, like, this is a guy that actually regularly gets out, goes for walks, interacts with people, and he's still like this.
Yes,
I loved that, because, you know, we've seen other things like Surrogates, for example.
Yes.
was a movie about
I enjoyed.
people. I liked that movie too. I like this more than that, but you know, Surrogates was a movie about people like so plugged in that they're like living these virtual lives, and they're not living their real lives. It's not that this guy has any kind of break with reality or anything.
That's true.
Like that. But it is, to your point, it is about how relying so much on the technology we do for communication has made it more and more difficult for us to formulate our own ideas.
True.
So like I'm not saying you're wrong that it's not about the surroundings things, but to add to that, it's also, as I said earlier, about communication and about how people have such a hard time And I think this is a thing that is going on now.
Yes.
And I like seeing kind of the foregone conclusion it played out
Indeed.
here. Because and I want to talk a minute about the place this guy works, and that's why I wrote my sign.
I was gonna bring that up too.
Yeah, he works for a place that for this website that writes letters for people who can't figure out how exactly they want to articulate what they want to say. And isn't that fascinating? This guy doing that job.
He's able to articulate for other people,
but not
while
for
he's
himself.
not able to articulate for himself. Exactly.
That was one of the things that I also found a little bit nightmarish, and I liked that it wasn't like this movie presents these things and doesn't comment on them.
Right,
it
doesn't hit you in the face.
Really,
it's part of the. It's part of the thing.
It allows us to make judgment calls, which is why a movie like this can be so impactful, because you or I could take all kinds of things out of it for ourselves, and depending on who we are at the time we see it at the theater, we're gonna take different things out of it. And so like that. I mean, that technology in my mind is just terrifying. Like you speak into a computer, and then it makes it look authentically handwritten, like you'd never be able to tell that somebody didn't actually take their hand and write it and then give it to someone, and they never know the difference. And that's
you just remind me of something.
Yeah, I mean, like, and what's crazy is, sorry, hold that thought.
Yeah, I'm holding it.
What's really crazy is that like people use that service all the time. One thing I thought was interesting was how big the building was. Yes. They had like 600 or something people that did this. It was huge.
Now here's the thing. Yeah. I couldn't tell whether every letter was individual personalized text or if it was the same type of text going on in each letter.
Later on when you see
when he's scanning them?
But no, I don't want to say the context of what it is in the movie, because
I know what you're talking about. I was about to get there.
There is a place where you see several of them all together, and they do look like they're all in different fonts.
Okay.
But anyway,
having said that, in that spot where you do see them all together, the subject of what that is, wouldn't it be terrifying to find that out there?
Yeah, that was something I wondered about. Yeah.
Thinking it's coming from your significant other?
Here's the thing, though.
It's a collection.
I know, but I'm going to go back on something I just said. I don't know for sure if some of the people that get those letters don't know that it came from that website. And aren't just fine with it because it's become commonplace that people need... That like, it's almost as if writing becomes a skill that only select people are good at. Isn't it also interesting...
Outsourcing your emails, basically.
There's a lot in this movie. Isn't it really interesting, by the way, that all of our main characters in this movie, arguably including the AI, including Samantha, are all, but especially the humans, are all creative people.
Yeah. Creative in different ways.
But for a living.
Yeah, all creative for a living.
All of them.
Yeah. That's interesting to know.
I'm not even going to do an analysis or read on that. I just think that's interesting. Anyway, anything else we need to knock out?
No, I think we covered it.
This is a movie I could talk about all day. Brandon, I think maybe I like this one just a tad more than you did.
I think you did as well. It made me slightly uncomfortable in that sense. Not sure I'd watch it again.
I definitely would. And by the way, Scarlett Johansson freaking tears it up in this.
Oh, definitely.
Like, she is such a presence off screen. I mean, does everything with her voice, and she is such a fully realized character. That
was impressive.
I was incredibly impressed with that. Anyway, well, everybody, thanks as always for watching us review a new movie. And
Absolutely.
Brandon and I will be with you again probably next week to review something else. And by the way, I'm going to start doing this. If there's something specific that you'd really like to see Brandon and I review over anything else that's out in the theater, feel free to make requests or recommendations in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Every week, Brandon and I kind of just grab onto whatever kind of tickles our fancy, and sometimes we find out about things that we didn't even know about 2 or 3 weeks after the fact. So feel free to put stuff in the comments, and maybe whatever gets the most votes, we'll think about going to that.
Sure thing.
Well, anyway, thanks again for watching. We'll see you later. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Brandon.